The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was one of the most important civil rights laws in the history of the United States. It outlawed discrimination, ended racial segregation, and protected the voting rights of minorities and women. On June 11, 1963, President John F. Kennedy gave a speech calling for a civil rights law that would give all Americans the right to be served in facilities that are open to the public and would offer greater protection for the right to vote. President Kennedy began to work with Congress to create a new civil rights bill. However, Kennedy was assassinated on November 22, 1963, and President Lyndon Johnson took over. President Johnson also wanted a new civil rights bill to be passed. He made the bill one of his top priorities. After working the bill through the House and the Senate, President Johnson signed the bill into law on July 2, 1964. The desegregation of public schools gave many minority students access to high-quality public education for the first time. The Office of Civil Rights was also established. The OCR has investigated and worked with state and local officials to resolve many kinds of civil rights problems, including the following. The Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965 was part of U.S. President Lyndon Johnson's War on Poverty. Reauthorized every 5 years, it has been the most far-reaching education legislation ever passed by the U.S. Congress. The bill's aim is to close achievement gaps between students by providing equal access to education and investing fairly in all primary and secondary students. Title I, a provision of the ESEA, allocates resources to children from immigrant homes as well as students who are at risk of neglect or abuse. Although the Civil Rights Act of 1964 sought to end discrimination based on race, nationality, religion, color, or gender, there was no provision specifically outlawing gender discrimination in the realm of education. Title IX was introduced to ensure that women would not face gender discrimination in public education. While there was no mention of women's collegiate sports in the Title IX legislation, the bill is most often associated with women's collegiate athletics. The Department of Education uses Title IX to determine equal treatment in collegiate athletics based on the following criteria. Until 1975, U.S. public schools accommodated only 1 out of 5 children with disabilities. Until that time, many states had laws that explicitly excluded children with certain types of disabilities from attending public school, including children who were blind, deaf, and children labeled emotionally disturbed or mentally retarded. However, in 2004, with the passing of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, students with disabilities were guaranteed a free, appropriate public education, which is defined as special education and related services that A, are provided at the public's expense, under public supervision and direction, and without charge, B, meet the standards of the state educational agency, C, include an appropriate preschool, elementary, or secondary school education in the state involved, and D, are provided in conformity with the Individualized Education Program under Section 614D